All right, let's get rolling here. Everybody, I'm going to start here in a sec when everybody joins in. Okay. Gonna wait till this participant count levels off a bit. All right, let's get rolling here. Let me share my screen. Okay. I hope everybody can see my screen here now. Okay, thanks, Felipe. Okay, so let's get this thing rolling. So my name is Matt Hollingsworth, and my talk is called Marketing Meteor. I realize now that this likely should have been challenges and opportunities, but that's okay, that's too late now. So let's get into it. Okay, so, oops. Okay, so a quick overview of this presentation. What's the goal of this presentation? So my goal here is to show and talk about what, excuse me, I'm actually, if I cough or sneeze during my talk here, it's because I am a little bit sick, but it's not COVID, so I got tested, trust me, so we're all good. So the goal of this presentation is to show how I've thought about marketing since the acquisition from MDG, how we as a company have thought about marketing, and how we plan to get more people excited about building with Meteor, and also to deploy to Galaxy. So that's the goal. I'm going to structure it as where we are at now, currently, and go into what we've done, what comes next, and how we are going to do it. And then I'm going to get into how you can help us out as well. So, and you are all currently helping us out by being part of this, and shout out to Jan for getting this thing up and running, and for everybody who helped out with it. This is a big part of what we're trying to do with Meteor as well. So, all right, let's get into it. So about me, so like I said, my name is Matt Hollingsworth. I have worked in a number of tiny companies up until this point. So Tiny Capital is the company that purchased Meteor from MDG back in October of 2019. I've worked in a couple of their companies, including their job board business and a few other side projects by the founder of Tiny. I've been working there for over 3 years, and have since come on to help with Meteor software starting in January of 2020. So I've been here for almost a year now. I put here that I'm master of almost none, which means that I do a lot of different things. I have my hands in a lot of different areas, but for the Meteor side, I am involved in the operations and the marketing. So I came on to help with the transition, talk to the vendors, talk to some of our customers, make sure that we are set up well and poised to grow. And just there's a lot of logistics that happen, and things that are a lot of moving parts that happen after an acquisition of that size. So I came on to help with that. And I've since moved into more of a marketing role. And that's where I have quite a bit of experience as well. So that's my role here at Meteor now. Want to be clear that I'm not a developer. I am now a Meteor hobbyist, which is, I think, speaks to the power of Meteor as a framework, and how easy it is to get started and to learn. I've relied on a few of the education resources before I started to build my own apps and deploy them to Galaxy. So that's been a fun experience for me and a large learning curve as well. So I'm not going to show any of my apps right now because this is an audience that I'm not quite comfortable enough showing what I've built with Meteor yet, but hopefully to come, I'll show you all what I've built. Okay, so marketing Meteor. How do we think about, how do we as a company think about marketing in this context? So it's pretty unique, right? I think we're all aware of the challenges that are presented now with this, both the open source as well as the business side of Meteor. Well, when I say that, I mean Galaxy hosting. So how I think about it is kind of broken up into 4 different parts. The first thing for us was to encourage momentum. So to show that under new ownership, we're willing to move quickly on things, we're willing to action on the things that are important, and to continue to build a great team and to produce products and on the open source side as well to help grow this thing and make it better. So improving what we have, investing in the infrastructure on the open source side, and growing and making Galaxy hosting a better service. The momentum is really important for us. So, and part of that is building confidence as well. So we wanted to make sure that the community that is here feels confident in the ownership, in the new ownership, and is willing to work with us and is confident in that we are willing to invest what we need to make it better. Excuse me. So, and then the next part here is busting some myths. So I think that we are all aware of some of the public perceptions and myths that are out there about Meteor and maybe about Galaxy. So first thing, if I go to, when I first came on, I went to Google and was typing and just to see what the perception was out there. And there's a lot of stuff that I think is not exactly true, but is a function of some inactivity and some lack of maybe marketing from the what we were previous owners, and up until this point there was some lack of activity going on. So part of this is busting some myths, and then the final 2 things here, and this is kind of the way that I think about marketing in general, and what I think is the goal of, or what should be the goal, is to show how building with Meteor JavaScript will make your life better. So that's really what marketing is in this context, is to show how this framework will help you build apps better, more efficiently, and make your life easier. And then as well, we want to show how, my job is to show how Galaxy hosting, deploying to Galaxy hosting will make your life better as well. So there's a number of ways we do that, and we'll get into how we are going to do that and deliver that. But that is the goal, fundamental goal. So I put this neat little equation at the bottom here. U plus Meteor plus Galaxy equals happy, successful developer. Okay, so quickly on where we currently are. We have this amazing group of community members who love Meteor. And I think that's a really interesting and underrated part of what we have here. That's something I think not a lot of companies are able to do, is to maintain and develop this really interesting, engaged, excited group of people around anything really, but especially around a technology like this. So that's really, really cool. And I was really happy to see how positive the community was when I came on. You all have been very generous with your time and really open about the things that are challenging for us. So I think that's really cool. There is still gaps in awareness of what Meteor and Galaxy can do. So in some of my conversations, I found that when Felipe and I or myself just get on a call with a Galaxy customer or a Meteor developer, there are lots of things that I think we can solve for, that are issues that that will run into, that have been either developed as a solution through a package that already is public, or just is already something that we have, a problem that we've already solved, and they don't maybe know about it. So that is something I think that's a marketing issue. That's a communication issue. And that's something that we're looking to improve. I've found that it happens quite often, actually. So in my case study work and my research with talking to customers, it has often been where they're stuck at a problem, and there's this lack of awareness of a solution that we already have solved, or that we've already built. There's still this public perception of being stagnant. So that's going back to what I was mentioning before about momentum and activity. And again, when activity and momentum decrease, or things aren't heard of from a technology-based business, it becomes an issue. And whether that's a real issue or just a perception issue, that's something that we think about a lot, is how do we work against that? And I think that comes down to communication and to activity level on through all of our channels. But generally there is this renewed excitement, which is super, super cool. So I think that everybody that's here now is likely in this camp. And I think people that I've talked to as well are super excited about where we are at now. And that makes our job easier. And that's it's a great thing. So there's renewed excitement is something I want to continue. And again, that's part of what we were wanting to do with marketing here. Okay, so briefly what we've done up until this point. So from January 2020, from when I came on, and before that actually, we have, up until now, we've built out a core team. So that was obviously a step one for us, was to get a great group of people around this business, and we as Meteor Software. So we have Felipe, obviously, who everybody knows, I'm sure, or has at least seen or heard of. And we have Renaud and Danielson, as well as myself. We have another marketer that is coming on to help me as well. And we have our CEO, Andrew, who's in Seattle. We built a new Meteor website, which you've all seen as well. Part of this concept of activity and momentum, we wanted to make sure that the public-facing site was representative of where we wanted to go. Which we didn't feel like was the case before. So that was something that we wanted to do right away, and we were able to act on that pretty quickly. We have played around with some pricing concepts for Galaxy hosting, and we tried the minimum monthly invoice. We've tried which we've since taken away, actually, because we didn't get a good response, and it just wasn't the right move. So bear with us while we test things out here and try to find what fits and what makes the most sense. But we tried that. We also tried a free trial for Galaxy hosting. So that's one of the things that I had found, at least, was that people didn't know about Galaxy because they didn't want to try it, and because they thought it was too expensive, which obviously it is more expensive than other hosting solutions out there, but there's a reason for that. There's this layer of functionality. There's these features that have taken a lot of time and product development to push and to have available for people on Galaxy hosting. So what we did, at least, to introduce this Galaxy hosting to more customers, to allow them to try it and to see how great it was this free trial. So for people who don't know, we do have a 30-day free trial for Galaxy hosting customers, and there's no risk. So you go ahead and try it out, and if it works for you, then that's great, and if not, then there's no risk again. So you can go up to 4 gigabytes of usage on that, and for totally free. So more transparency, building trust. This, again, we've talked about this, but transparency is going to be really important for us to build the trust, I think, and to make sure that the community is trusting in us to make the right decisions and invest what we need to. So with this, again, public perception of some stagnation that happened over the past few years, I think it's really important for us to show that we are talking to the community. We are making sure that we take into consideration what you all think we should be doing, as well as to explain the decisions or why we're making the certain decisions that we are. And I think transparency is something that we really value, and this is why I'm doing this. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is to introduce myself, but also to build trust as well. So, and we also set a roadmap. So we've been public with that, and we're working with the community to make sure we're heading in the right direction. Okay, so what's next? How do we grow? So there's a couple of key areas here, and I've gone into the first one a bit, but supporting existing users to continue to build with Meteor, making sure that our core group of community members and our core group of developers that are building with Meteor, to make sure that they are happy and that they're confident that we're heading in the right direction and we're not going anywhere. This is a business that there's a reason why we bought Tiny Capital bought this business, is because we really see a lot of value over the long term with what we've built so far and what we have. So we want to make sure that the existing users are confident with us, and that was step one. And that's a work in progress. That's not something that we think is done and we're going to move forward from. That's just something we will continue to do. There's this other piece where bringing Meteor users who have since left back to Meteor. So if you, for whatever reason they would have left, for maybe they thought that there's better solutions out there, maybe they thought it was a momentum thing and they didn't trust that where it was going before. But now that we are focusing more on this and we have a team around it and we're looking to grow and make this better. If you have a Meteor developer or a former Meteor developer in your bubble in your circle of developer friends, and people that you know, we would love for you to try to convince them to give Meteor another shot, and explain why that's the case. So that's this next cohort. And the last two here, encouraging new developers to learn with Meteor, that's something that is going to be it's going to be a long-term motion for us. It's going to be something that we spent a long time trying to encourage through education, through case studies, through activity level on different developer communities online, and just again going back to that whole marketing piece of how do we show that if you use Meteor and if you use Galaxy, will be better for you and your life will be better. That's something that's obviously really important to the growth of the developer community as well as the business. And then more Galaxy customers. So both hobbyists and enterprise customers, we need to, ultimately that's in full transparency, that's how the business stays afloat, is to have more customers come to Galaxy. So there's obviously that piece that we need to focus on as well. Okay, so how we're doing it. So this next phase of the presentation is going to be talking about what levers we have to pull and how we are going to go and act on all the things that I mentioned before. So communication, obviously a huge thing for us. We have a number of channels where we communicate with our existing developer community, as well as try to bring new developers and grow our reach when it comes to building our community. So Felipe and I have started a podcast. If you haven't checked that out, please do. That is, well, if you don't mind the sound of my dumb voice and you want to hear Felipe talk about interesting things, then listen to the podcast. That's just a breakdown of everything we've done over the past month. So if you prefer that and don't want to read a blog post, or if you don't want to follow the roadmap, then the podcast is a good resource for you. We're going to be more active with our email, so weekly newsletters, any announcements that we have done through Meteor, the JavaScript, or for Galaxy hosting, we're going to be more active with email. So make sure that if you don't have an email that is current for your Meteor developer account or for your Galaxy account, please do update that so we can get in touch with you about new announcements. We have social, obviously, most of that is Twitter, Slack channel. So the Slack channel is community led, and it's a great resource. It's pretty active, and it's actually one of the more active Slack communities that I've seen, which is pretty cool. A lot of questions get answered there every day, and there's a lot of really interesting discussion there. So I'll be more active there as well. And we have the forum, which again, if you have questions, it's a really good resource. It's probably one of the biggest value, I would say one of the biggest differentiators when it comes to what we have here is the forum. So how active people are there, answering questions, having different discussions, meeting people, and networking, all that kind of stuff. It's a great place to be when it comes to all things Meteor. So I would go and check that out. And then we have the blog. So I'll get into what we're going to be planning to do, what we're doing with the blog, and just be aware that there'll be more activity there as well. Okay, so how we're doing it this next phase here. So case studies, we're going to be more active with the case studies that we're developing with both our Meteor developers and showcasing a lot of interesting things little interesting projects. These are going to be like smaller projects and also enterprise style projects. We just recently had a case study with a company called AnyRun, which is a malware tracking service, and I encourage you to go check that out as well. It's a really cool application they have built, and it's one of the largest in the world. It's built with Meteor, so that was pretty cool to see how they built it. The goal of the case study is to show that, again, this working against, or just to show that there's lots of large applications out there, lots of large businesses that are built around Meteor, and that are also deploying to Galaxy. And it's a cool, interesting way to see what their tech stack is, what their thought process was when they decided to build with Meteor, and any challenges that they may have faced in their growth, or anything that they think. There's a piece in the last one that talks about challenges that they face building with Meteor, which is obviously something that we want to get and be public with, because that means that we can work and try to solve that problem. So again, they show why and how teams have chosen to use both Meteor and Galaxy. Success stories, it's really cool to see how many people, how many companies have built great businesses with Meteor as the framework, and that are hosting on Galaxy as well. There are a lot out there, and we'll continue to highlight them. We are going to be working with actually Pathable here, so everybody knows Pathable now, or at least they should. We're going to be working with them and creating a case study, and then we have a number of other things on the go as well. So keep an eye out for those, and if you see them, we would love for everybody to share those out as well. If you have a interesting project that you want to have as a case study, we always want to highlight those interesting projects. So there's a contact section at the end of this presentation. So if you want to have your project highlighted, and if you want to go into depth as to why you've built with Meteor, then please let me know, and I would love to work with you. So how this next piece of this, I think, goes to this new Meteor user. So this is the education side of our community has a lot of improvement, or that we can improve a lot on what we offer as resources for education for new Meteor users, especially. I know for myself, because I went through the process of going through the tutorials and building an application with Meteor, and that can be improved. It's going to play a big factor in how we bring more people to build with Meteor, and how we can encourage more people to use Galaxy as well. So it's something that's very much on our radar, and we're working to build better education resource. We've already actually built a new React tutorial that you can submit pull requests to, which was a big improvement, because before there was a very old React tutorial that just wasn't updated and actually didn't work at all, because it wasn't up to date with the new technology. So that has been improved, and we're always looking for people to contribute to that. So if you want to go ahead and work on one of the tutorials, and please do. We very much encourage that. Felipe has a really interesting, cool new site project that he's working on called How to Build an App.dev. I believe that's correct, but I'll make sure we link to it in any videos here. But that's it's a good resource, because there really wasn't a lot out there for brand new Meteor developers to get going and to get started with building with Meteor. So that's going to be a big piece of how we go into the future with trying to encourage more people to use it. There's lots of videos out there. I think, so I actually use the Scott Tolinsky videos, which are awesome. There's some up-to-date ones, which are really cool. Some of the older, there's Galaxy hosting ones that are a little older. So we want to, an ideal end state for our education side of Meteor is to have this all-encompassing, very in-depth Meteor University, and that's kind of the goal of the next, I would say, year or so, to have a better platform to have different education resources to make sure people have what they need to be able to build and to deploy. But it's something that we're going to continue to work on, because obviously without new Meteor users, then we have a very difficult uphill battle that we are going to be fighting. So we want to encourage as many new developers to come on, and we want to make it as easy for them as possible to build with Meteor. So the next stage here of how we are going to be improving both the Meteor and just us as a business, Meteor software as a business, is to improve the user experience for new users coming on and going through the install process of Meteor and then going to Galaxy to deploy their application. So right now, again, it's maybe for everybody that's listening right now, that process is intuitive and it's easy for you, but I think it's safe to say that it's not easy for everybody that are not familiar with how the process is to install and to create a Meteor developer account and create a Galaxy account and then deploy their apps. So just we're going to be substantially improving the experience of that flow and that journey through to successful deployment. And then after the successful deployment, to try to encourage or give resources and to let people scale properly. So that's kind of the stages of our customers right now, and install to Meteor developer account to Galaxy. So talking about Galaxy a little bit, Galaxy is a really great product, and from everybody that I've talked to that uses it, it is a very helpful tool to be able to spend more time building with Meteor and less time with things like DevOps. And there's a lot of out-of-the-box solutions that we have with Galaxy that I think people just don't know about. So one of the things is we're going to improve the positioning of Galaxy to make sure that we are doing everything we can to show how Galaxy can help Meteor developers. And we'll get into that here in a second. So how do we do that? Well, I think there's this trend or this perception issue when it comes to Galaxy hosting and the comparison between Galaxy hosting to other pure hosting products. And how do we elevate our positioning between what we offer and what other hosting services offer? And I think that's something we've thought a lot about, and we are planning to make some significant changes here. This is one of the changes, or the big change, and it's kind of a sneak preview of what we're going to be doing later in the month, and hopefully later in the month, or I should say later into November. But one thing is we're going to essentially rebrand Galaxy hosting into a service that we call Meteor Cloud. So the goal of that is to make things more consistent on the Meteor developer account and Galaxy. So essentially those are going to be one thing. Galaxy is going to be something that within that. And the goal of that is to try to make sure we elevate ourselves from other pure hosting providers to show that it's not just hosting that you get with Galaxy. It is, there are a number of things that come along with that, like Meteor APM. Our professional plans have things like auto scaling and IP whitelisting and all these extra features that are baked into what Galaxy does. The goal of it is to make sure that we are separating ourselves from what a pure hosting provider can do. And this is the effort that we have here. But there's a lot more actually to that, and I'll let Felipe talk about that a little bit later today on his keynote, but make sure that you stay tuned for what is to come with Meteor Cloud, because it's something we're really excited about. So before I wrap up, I just wanted to say that there's this really interesting and actually really unique thing about Meteor software that we have. It's our community. So We've done essentially the heavy lifting when it comes to building a community of people that care deeply about a product or care deeply about a technology. So we have, that is what is going to allow us to be stable and to continue to grow the Meteor JavaScript side as well as the Galaxy side. There's a lot of other technologies out there, but one of the things that I hear constantly and see online quite a bit is that the great thing about Meteor and building with Meteor is that we have this really great community. So that was wanting to help and wanting to bring more people in. So I think that gives us a real edge, and that can separate us if we do it well and if we are encouraging people to join. So we are constantly wanting to highlight Meteor developers doing interesting work. Make sure that if you are on social, if you want things tagged, and if you want us to retweet things, we're happy to do that to show that what you've been building with Meteor, and continue to highlight interesting work done by great Meteor developers. Helping Meteor developers find work. So we've spun up this concept of a Meteor job board. There is a job board out there specific for Meteor called We Work Meteor, but we are going to be working alongside those folks to have a solution that allows people to post jobs for free and to encourage people to find work and to connect those companies building with Meteor to Meteor developers looking for work. So that is something we have on the go as well. So how you can help. This is, it's kind of a big ask, and I hope it hasn't come across like I'm just asking for help this entire time. But it's really important to re-emphasize the fact that a Meteor developer and someone talking about the technology is going to be way more important than anything that we do from a marketing side. And so if you love Meteor, continue to talk about it, continue to engage with us on social, and continue to make sure that you talk with everybody that's in your circle about how great it is, because that is going to be really what helps us grow. That's going to be the most powerful way that we grow. So, and continue to do what you're doing as part of Meteor Impact, and to be part of the Slack group and the forum and all that kind of stuff. So that's super important. So get in touch as well. So I'm running up on time here. But get in touch with me if you have a marketing idea for me. If you have an idea that you think will help us grow and continue to spread the word about Meteor, then please do let me know. I'm always open to new ideas and any feedback as well. If we're doing things that you think are incorrect, or if you think is going in the wrong direction, part of this transparency that we are wanting to pursue is about hearing from you. So please do reach out and let me know if you have any ideas there. And I really appreciate being invited to this, and thank you so much.